What advice would you give to anyone who wants to become a singer?
Get a good lawyer.
There are going to be people along the way who will try to undercut your success. Someday when you get where you're going, you'll look around and you will know that it was you and the people who love you who put you there. And that will be the greatest feeling in the world.
Taylor, to your right!
People decided I was wicked and evil. That was the one that I couldn't really bounce back from.
There's nothing you can do to make them change their mind. They just don't love you anymore. Nobody physically saw me for a year.
Karma.
What do you think is the most important life lesson for someone to learn?
That karma's real.
I think she just was hoping to put out this song Karma and hope that we would lay it to rest, but no. I am still at the restaurant. Sometimes things are in the vault for a reason, and will we see any clues to the existence of karma in the Reputation vault? Hello guys, welcome back. It's Nina. If you are new to the channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you, and if you're not new, thanks for coming back. I cannot believe I'm making another video about karma. As a tried and true karma truther, I truly feel like it is my duty to continue clowning about this. Because fun fact about me, I've never moved on from anything ever. So once again, we are going to be beating this dead horse of a theory because I have new thoughts. I have new opinions. I have realistic opinions. I just feel like I have some new insight with all that has happened since my last video. So if you haven't seen, for those of you who don't know, this lost album comes from the suspicion that there was a secret scrapped album that was supposed to be released in 2016 between 1989 and Reputation because of the album cycle that Taylor Swift had before, where she was releasing albums every 2 years and she would cut her hair or do a different hairstyle, come out with an album in the fall, and then tour. She had this very cyclical career at that point, so this was kind of the first thing that led to suspicion that there was some body of music that was never heard or just disappeared. So 3 years ago, I created a video sharing everything we knew at that point about this theory, the Easter eggs, the possibilities, why we think this is real at all, or that anything like this could have existed. A lot of people have been asking me about my updated opinions about it, so I just thought I would make another video. So welcome to Everything We Know About Karma Part 2. I will link my previous video down below, so if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you can go watch that, get up to date on all of the Easter eggs about karma, and then come back for Part 2. I have noticed quite a few Swifties hopping off the bandwagon of being a karma truther, but one thing about me is I love a good clowning moment, so here we are. My dear friend Alexis, who also has a YouTube channel, recently did a video ranking all of our failed theories slash clowning moments, and it kind of inspired me and took me back to why I love this fandom so much, because we're just so insane, unhinged, and it's just like so much more fun than other fandoms, I feel like, because like the never-ending possibilities of all these fun things and Taylor keeping us on our toes. Taylor is truly the reason why it's so much fun to be a fan of her music, because we're not just a fan of her music, we're a fan of the experience of being a Swiftie, the community, just the inside jokes, everything about it is just so much fun. And along with that comes these insane theories. And I will say, I kind of blame Taylor for it because she raised us this way and she was the one dropping Easter eggs since debut. And I feel like it has just snowballed and gotten more intense since then. And then by the time we hit like Reputation on full-fledged maniacs here looking for clues like freaking true crime documentaries or something. And even though Alexis is a karma hater, I forgive her, and I feel like it's my duty as a karma truther to dive deeper down the rabbit hole because we are all mad here. If there's anything I love, it's reaching for imaginary Easter eggs to keep my creativity and my dreams alive. Now, I want to start off by saying that even if karma, or whatever this lost album may or may not have been called, even if if it is real, Taylor does not owe us this album. Even if it is real, even if there was music that she created during 2016 that might not even make it onto the Reputation vault, it is completely Taylor's decision what to put out in the world, and sometimes things are in the vault for a reason. As much as it pains me that I may never know peace or have any vindication with this theory, if Taylor doesn't want to release anything specifically, we just have to be okay with that. But honestly, it's all just for fun. It's not that deep. It's not that serious. I mean, we are the fandom that was counting holes in a fence. We are looking at numbers and dates, and if they add up to 13, what color Taylor is wearing to an award show. I think that says a lot about us as a fandom. Do any of us truly think a lot of this stuff means anything? Probably not, but it's just fun, you know? And Taylor definitely plays into it. So I would say we share the blame. And we cannot forget about the flower mural incident of 2017. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It was one of our worst clowning moments, I think. But getting into it, I truly believe that the Look What You Made Me Do music video has the most evidence for this karma theory. And I won't repeat those Easter eggs here just because I talked all about it in my video. So watch that, and I've covered all of the Easter eggs in that video because I feel like they are the strongest Easter eggs for the karma theory. But I haven't talked about this theory since the song Karma came out. And when Taylor announced Karma as a track on Midnights during the Midnights Mayhem with Me segment she was doing on TikTok, I about lost my mind. It was literally like 3 in the morning, and I was on vacation with my family, and I literally screamed in this hotel room at 3 in the morning, and everybody thought somebody was like breaking in because I literally could not believe my eyes.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Midnight's Mayhem with me. Track 11 is called Karma.
It was just so funny because that was the first and only time Taylor has ever slightly acknowledged that this theory existed in the world. As soon as she said it, she was like, Karma, and she cracked up. She was laughing because she knew that would send us into a coma. So you can't convince me that Taylor doesn't know that this theory exists, and that's why it's just like so mind-boggling to me, because why wouldn't she just come out and say, hey guys, that's not a real theory? Because when the whole Woodvale thing happened, she addressed that on a talk show, I believe, where we thought there was a third sister album to Folklore and Evermore called Woodvale, but it actually was just a code name for Folklore. They had just like forgotten to take that code name off of the cover of the back cover of Folklore, I believe, and it was like small in white font. Anyways, but she addressed that rumor at least and kind of busted that myth.
I want to look at something that appeared on the cover of Folklore. And if we zoom in, we can see it says Woodvale there in the tree.
Okay, well, this takes a bit of explanation.
Yeah.
So I tend to be sort of annoyingly secret agenty about dropping clues and hints and Easter eggs, and it's very annoying, but it's fun for fans and it's fun for me because they like to pick up on things and they'll notice lots of things in music videos or photos or whatever. And then sometimes I take it too far and I make a mistake. And so I came up with a fake code name that had the same amount of letters as Folklore. And we forgot to take the fake code name off of one of them.
Is that true? Is that really true?
Yes.
This karma theory, I think she just was hoping to put out this song Karma and hope that we would lay it to rest, but no, I am still at the restaurant. I think the first thing we need to talk about is the Karma music video. I also did a video kind of talking about the Karma music video and some of the Easter eggs overall because, you know, we were looking for all Easter eggs during that era for all the re-recordings, 1989, Speak Now, you know, Reputation, all of that. But there are a few pretty strong Easter eggs in the Karma music video, and even today when I was like watching it and like doing more research about the video and the meaning behind it, I was finding a couple new things that I wanted to talk about. The most prominent Easter egg is obviously in that opening scene where she is a gold Greek goddess, and in the background you can see the graffiti of Karma in the same exact spray paint font as the Man music video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, in the Man music video there is this iconic graffiti wall scene where all of Taylor Swift's albums are spray painted. These are all of her stolen albums. Are spray painted on this wall. Right in the middle is Karma in orange. And it's written there twice. Black and orange. In the context of that scene, there's a sign on the wall that says, "If found, returned to Taylor Swift." These are stolen and she wants them returned to her. Why is karma on the wall? Is it just, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's just karma. Like the concept of karma means, you know, they'll get what's coming to them. It's not an album. Why is it written on the wall with all of the albums that were stolen? So fast forward to this Karma music video and that exact font is written in the background. If she is just doing this to play into it and mess with us, it hurts. She's driving me crazy. They even put this exact font with the spray paint Karma on the Midnight's merch, which is so unhinged because if this album isn't real, why are we playing into the theory? Okay? That's all I'm saying. If you want us to back off, maybe don't do stuff like that. But here's the thing. Way back in 2019, when she decided to have this spray painted Karma, they were not thinking about any of the other albums that came after it, obviously. Folklore, Evermore. You can't tell me that that spray paint on the wall was supposed to allude to a song that was coming out on 3 albums later. No. This is giving very much like the Lover House, how when the Lover music video came out, that visual became something it was not initially intended to represent. With each room being a different album, maybe Taylor had some kind of idea of that, but that was before Folklore and Evermore. And they just shoved Folklore and Evermore right in the staircase, and then when Midnights came out on the website merch store for Christmas, they made this Night Sky Midnights. It's like they really played into that, but that was never supposed to be intended for that purpose. And then furthermore, on the Eras tour, the Lover House became this visual of all of her albums. And during the Fearless era, the Fearless room in the Lover House is illuminated and moves forward. So this was a symbol that she took and repurposed to fit a new meaning. It was never intended to become what it became. I think that's what they were doing with putting Karma on the merch. Like, it was never intended that she spray painted this on the wall and then it became a song for Midnights and a merch item. That was something they reworked later on to give it a different purpose. I'm getting so heated talking about this. There's truly nothing that riles me up like this theory, I swear. Like, ask my friends, family, literally anyone that mentions this theory, they better be ready because I could go on for days and days. Some people think that just because Taylor put out a song called Karma, that this theory is completely dead. Wrong. I do not know what reason they would use that font to put it on the Midnights merch. I feel like maybe Taylor and her team were like, oh, if I put out this song, people are gonna shut up about this lost album. Girl, do you know your fans? But the fact is, at the end of the day, Karma, the song, was created after Taylor knew about these theories. The fact that the song Karma exists is an Easter egg in itself, truly, because let's look at the subject matter of the song. A lot of the lyrics deal with the issue of her work being taken from her and that karma always comes back around, specifically to those who thought that they could own her forever. I feel like this issue with the selling of the masters and not being able to own her work is such a prominent theme that has woven its way through all of her work in the last 5 to 6 years, even as far back as Reputation, while she was still on the label. But what if she's using the title of this so-called scrapped album to throw it back in her old label's face, that despite their best efforts, she has become more successful than she has ever been, and it's all without their help. Imagine they're holding this lost album hostage and she says, that's fine, I'm gonna make this song Karma and it's gonna be 10 times as successful as I could have ever been with you, because they kept her caged in this box. And if you know anything about the Look What You Made Me Do video, when she's in the gold cage, that is supposed to allegedly represent Karma Taylor. She's wearing orange, she's a jailer, she is trapped. it. So I don't know if that was a visual representation of Karma being under lock and key or maybe in a vault, but it is suspicious. In the Karma music video, in the scene where she's skipping down the yellow brick road and she's blowing kisses to the 3 Grim Reapers who are flipping her off, we obviously know who those people are supposed to represent. I don't think there's a more explicit depiction of who the song is about. In my original theory, before we knew Midnights was a thing, I had thought maybe there was issues with the label putting out this type of album, and that's why it never saw the light of day, because maybe she was forced to scrap it, or they said she was never going to be able to put it out, or they wanted her to wait, or, you know, whatever controlling things they were making her do, because we all know that they tried to make all the opposite decisions for her until she could push back and say, absolutely not. If we were following her usual album cycle, an album would have come out in the fall of 2016, but we all know what happened in 2016. Taylor had never faced cancellation or backlash like that in her entire career. She maybe saw some of it during the Red era, but this was different. I felt it. I remember that day so well. I felt sick to my stomach when I saw what was going on Twitter and all of that. I can definitely see why not putting out a new album in that shitstorm would be the right decision. Not to mention an album called Karma, or an album that would have a similar aggressive vibe to Reputation during a time when the general public was not in favor and was not on her side. Now, I'm gonna take you to the Easter egg that really just is my Roman Empire. I think about it a lot, and this is the end of the Karma music video when she's walking with the coffee, the clock in the coffee, blue nail, black nail. The craziest thing is that Karma would have been between 1989 and Reputation, so we know that, but truly nothing came of this Easter egg. Like, it drives me crazy because Taylor liked a tweet about that specific scene being an Easter egg, and possibly one part of it came true, which would be that 1989 was going to come out next in the re-recording process, and also people had said, oh, because her thumb is where the 8 is on the clock, it's going to come out in August. Well, she announced it in August of that year, so I would say partially that was right, but what about the other part? What about Reputation? What about the clock? Like, and it being in the Karma music video is what makes it a Karma Easter egg, I believe. Because she could have put purple and blue nails, because Speak Now 1989 were coming out tandem in 2023, but no, she put 1989 Reputation. Another thing that could dispel this Easter egg is that this was marking the end of the Midnights era, because then she places it down, the clock strikes midnight, video over, and shortly after that, the Midnights era kind of came to a close. That was our last music video, our last like new music, new content from Midnights. As much as I love to go on and on about my Easter eggs, I have to also consider the opposite reasons for things. Next, we're gonna move on to the Tortured Poets era, and if there's anything that leads me to believe anything from that era could lead towards Karma, and there are a couple things. Some of them are reaches, I will just tell you now. The first is from the Fortnite music video, and there was a scene in the video where Taylor and Post Malone are typing on their typewriters, and the clouds coming up out of their typewriters were blue and orange. Whereas the other time we have seen something like that? Oh, the Karma music video. Taylor and Ice Spice each have their rope around a planet. The moon and Saturn calls back to folklore lyrically, but this visual is very similar. So I thought that was very interesting. Also, the fact that it's orange and blue, 1989, Karma. I know a lot of people like me, were clowning that Karma could have been closer to the 1989 era and not Reputation, but alas, 1989, Taylor's version came out and there was no clues that that was ever a thing. Because calling back to the Man music video wall, 1989 was written twice, as well as Karma. Those were the only two things on the wall written twice. Very weird. I don't know. But Karma was written in black and orange. And in the Karma music video, it was the black version of the Karma spray paint. Next, I wanted to talk about some lyrics, and we're not going to go too deep into lyrics, but I realized that I definitely could with this specific song, and that is Cassandra. Cassandra has so many callbacks to this era of 2016, and also the moment that Taylor found out her masters were being sold. Basically, the song Cassandra is based on this character, this Greek myth of Cassandra, Princess of Troy, who was cursed to have nobody believe her prophecies. Sound familiar? In this very first verse, we get these lines that are like completely take us into this moment that Taylor Swift lost everything. I was in my new house, placing daydreams. Her new label, her new musical family. She was already moved on from the label, and she was thinking about how great the future is going to be because she owns all her work now. Patching up the crack along the wall. So she is, I can do it with a broken heart. She's picking herself back up. She can't own her old music, but she can own whatever she makes in the future. I pass it and lose track of what I am saying. So she is not even expecting what is about to hit her. And then it says, because that's where I was when I got the call. The call in the myth is the call of the prophecy where she realized what's going to happen, which if you don't know the story about the Trojan horse, go look it up in Greek mythology. She tried to warn the town about this Trojan horse carrying all these soldiers in to take over the city or whatever. I really don't know like the full details, so don't quote me on this. But this Trojan horse is like a decoy, and once they brought it into the city, everyone was killed because there were soldiers hiding in it. So Cassandra tried to warn the town, they didn't listen to her, and they died. That is karma. That is a story about how people got what was coming to them because they didn't believe the warning. And Taylor relates this to her life in such a direct way. The whole song has so many lyric parallels to Reputation, where she talks about, and then they filled my cell with snakes. We know what that means. The Twitter snake day, they filled her cell, her cell phone, with snakes, tweeting at her whatever Taylor Swift is over party. And this might be a stretch, but she says in one of the verses, I was in my tower weaving nightmares. So during this time where she was locked away, when she was being canceled, she could have been writing music, she could have been creating, even before Reputation became an intention for an album. Because she was gone from the public eye for such a long period of time where everybody was like, where's Taylor Swift? Where's Taylor Swift? There's that iconic, infamous magazine cover that says why she disappeared. And then we get to the line, they knew the whole time I was on to something. And I don't know, it's just like crazy to think about the fact that people know the truth about all of this. We don't know the full truth, and I don't think we ever fully will, but I want to know so bad what was going on in 2016, what music she was writing, like what the label was saying, and just crazy because even they know the truth about the situation of what Taylor was creating back then. So, and then we have, you can mark my words, I said it first, in a morning warning no one heard. This was almost like she warned them, if you don't let me own my masters, I am going to re-record all of my albums, therefore devaluing my previous work. And they effed around and found out, that's for sure. So they killed Cassandra first because she feared the worst and tried to tell the town. And that is referring to the phone call situation and how they killed her reputation before she could speak and tell the truth about it. And then when the truth came out years later, nobody said a thing. Nobody apologized. Nobody accepted that, oh yeah, it was wrong to cancel Taylor Swift over literally nothing. I think all of this relates to the concept of karma and like why it could have been something she was working on during that time of 2016. And I feel like we must also talk about the most iconic Eras Tour piano mashup of Cassandra, Mad Woman, and I Did Something Bad. Like, the female rage mashup of the century, and how many parallels these songs have with each other and how closely they are all connected. They literally have lyrics like Cassandra, burn the bitch, and then we have Mad Woman, women like hunting witches, and then I Did Something Bad, they're burning all the witches. These are all songs that she's been like talking about this feeling for so long, ever since Reputation, which was the era in which she was still with her old label. So if anything, Cassandra is a reference to that specific time, the summer of 2016. Another song on Torture Poets that has a more direct depiction of this is obviously Who's Afraid of Little Ol' Me. That one is very obvious. I'll sue you if you step on my lawn. Just in that line, there's a reference to just the legality and the logistics of all of this re-recording business. I did a deep dive on how Taylor was able to legally re-record her songs and what makes it legit for her to do, because the fact of the matter is she might not own the masters, but as a songwriter, she has publishing credit on every single one of her songs, which some people don't have. And so that's why she is able to make a cover of her own song where it's as close as it can possibly be, but have just a slight difference to it. And that's how the Taylor's versions are able to exist. So it does make you wonder, because let's say a scrapped album was never released under that label, they own the masters to maybe some of those songs that were intended for a Karma album, but she technically is able to put out re-recordings of these songs even though they are technically not put out yet, because think about songs like Better Man and Babe. Those are songs that weren't originally hers performed by her, but she was able to cover her own song that she wrote. And so that's kind of how Karma would be able to be released as a re-recording. Speaking of the Eras Tour, I just thought I needed to touch on the fact that there was so many orange outfits introduced, especially in the year of 2024. We did have one orange 1989 outfit, which was odd to me because orange didn't really fit into that era. If you think about it, Taylor was kind of trying to mimic certain aspects of each era during the Eras Tour and bring back certain outfit details and whatnot to bring a piece of each tour. And on the 1989 tour, she had green, she had pink, and she had blue. Two-piece Shake It Off outfits that are fringe. Now, for the Eras Tour, she had pink, green, and blue, but she also had orange, which was odd to me because that was never a color she wore during that era. I'm just saying. And then she brought out the orange lover bodysuit first night of the European leg in Paris. So that was interesting. And then we had the orange The Man jacket, orange boots with that, and then we also had the bright orange surprise song dress. Again, more orange 1989 elements. Those things with colors and numbers we have to take with a grain of salt, but sometimes Taylor does it on purpose, therefore it has ruined any other time where she wears a color and we immediately think it's meaning something. And I also feel like I need to address the Karma door theory, because that's another one people have thrown out a lot of theories about, where at the very end of the Eras Tour, during the song Karma, when she's singing that as her finale, there's an orange door that descends from the middle of the screen on the stage of the Eras Tour. And a lot of people think that means like she's exiting the stage into the Karma era or something about the orange door. I think it's a fun theory, don't get me wrong, but I feel like there is not enough support for that theory for it to mean anything. I don't fully understand why there's a door. If you guys have any theories about that, please let me know. And again, if you guys have opinions about any of this, please let me know. I love listening to people's theories, Easter eggs, opinions, oppositions, as long as it's kind. While we are talking about colors here, there's just some things that like always like nag in the back of my mind. We have the orange Reputation vinyl that was like the Record Store Day special edition orange vinyl, which I thought was so odd because again, orange doesn't fit in the Reputation era, so to speak. I know that there was some orange elements, but like having a neon orange vinyl, like why not a black and white one? Why not a marbled one? Like I feel like there was a lot of other things she could have done for a special edition vinyl, but neon orange? I don't know. And then there was the two special edition Reputation magazines. There was orange and black, again, in pairs. I feel like there's a lot of twos, a lot of pairs going on with the Reputation era. Similar to Tortured Poets and the Anthology. It's like two sides of the same coin, and I feel like Karma and Reputation are like that as well. With Karma being written on the wall twice in orange and black, like I said, and they're appearing in like a parallel way throughout the eras. And of course there was a lot of obvious Easter eggs leading towards Tortured Poets being a double album, lots of twos, the peace symbol. When she had accepted her award she said 2, and she always made sure to do the number 2 on her fingers. But will that continue? Will the twos continue? I think realistically Karma may have been reworked partially to become Reputation. If we're being realistic, if we're pulling our feet back down to the ground. And even though I love this theory so much and I find it so fascinating and so interesting to like dive deep into this, I must also acknowledge certain evidence and things that might negate this theory. One of those being in early 2016, Taylor did an interview with Vogue where they asked her what's next, and for the first time ever she had said, I don't know, I'm not really sure what's next. And to quote her, she said, I just decided that after the past year with all the unbelievable things that have happened, I decided I was going to live my life a little bit without the pressure on myself to create something. I'm always going to be writing songs. The thing is, with me, I could very well come up with 3 things in the next 2 weeks and then jump back into the studio. And all of a sudden, the next record is started. That's an option too. So she's not saying she didn't do that. This was before. So she was saying like, yeah, that might happen, but I'm just going to let whatever happen happen. It's not saying like, oh, I'm purposely not going to work on music for the next year. Like, she didn't say that exactly. So I think the people are like saying, oh, she said she wasn't writing anything that year, so that doesn't exist. Well, she said she might not be writing anything. I think Taylor's always writing something, and she has said that before. She's always writing something.
I love songwriting so much that it interrupts my daily life.
And then she said, but probably not for the moment. I would really like to take a little time to learn things. I have a lot of short-term goals. So again, that was like a very open-ended answer to the question. Like, I don't know, maybe, maybe not. So I don't feel like that fully negates the theory, but I think the intention of creating an album wasn't at the forefront. I think creating music or writing songs, yes. I definitely think she was doing that during 2016. And then apparently she started to actually work on Reputation in September of 2016, like with the intention of creating an album. So that still leaves a little bit of room within the year if this happened, you know, early 2016, January, February, and then all the way to September. That's like a solid 9 months. Not to be that person, but I'm just saying it was possible that something could have been created during that time, because she made Folklore in like, what, 2 months, 3 months? So it's definitely possible for Taylor Swift to whip out an album in a few months. So I'm not saying that she definitely did or didn't, but she said that there was a possibility. I think realistically, if we're not going with the karma theory, she probably just didn't have any intention of the song she was writing to become an album, like an actual fully formed album. Now this kind of brings me to talk about Reputation, Taylor's version, and you know, we'll probably most likely get it this year. Again, we have no idea what Taylor Swift's plan is. She's definitely taking time off right now. She should be resting and whatnot, but I do believe this is the year we're going to get the last of the re-recordings project. I had said in my previous video that I believe that Debut will be coming first in the first half of the year, spring, summer, and then I said Reputation would probably come in the fall and winter of this year. It just makes the most sense to me for the vibes of the album, and also I think Reputation would be a much bigger release than Debut, because I feel like, you know, Debut was her first album. It's also country. I feel like that narrows the niche a little bit. I feel like Reputation is an album that people have come to love so much, especially with the Eras Tour. Maybe it wasn't popular at the time, but it is one of those albums that has grown so much over time, and I feel like Debut hasn't had that situation happen for it. And so I think if she wanted to go out with a bang, Reputation would be the last album. Now, when we talk about the possibility of Karma ever being released, I do feel like it is a possibility that songs that were intended for a different album were reworked into Reputation, or they were put in the vault. And it made me think, do we think Taylor reworked those songs she was working on in the Karma era, and either they ended up on Reputation or they ended up in the vault? And will we see any clues to the existence of Karma in the Reputation vault? That's what I'm looking forward to the most, is like uncovering more behind the Reputation era, especially now that she is not with Joe. Because Reputation, as much as it's like, it looks aggressive and it has this persona of like bad bitch energy, it's such a cinnamon roll. It's like a love album. It's like all the songs are just lovey-dovey about Joe. So I'm wondering if she shelved other songs that had more nuance emotionally in their relationship, because I think we see a lot of that on Lover, especially with Cornelia Street, like False God, Afterglow. We see a lot more nuance in their relationship and the cracks in the armor. So I do wonder if any of the vault tracks allude to anything like that, or if they allude to anything that happened in 2016, you know? Last year in her Time Person of the Year interview, Taylor Swift had been asked, have you recorded Reputation, Taylor's version yet? And she said, yes, the vault tracks are gonna be fire. And that's all the little thing that we have gotten from her. We do know that we heard Delicate, Taylor's version, in the Summer I Turned Pretty TV series on Amazon Prime. And so we got a little snippet of a Taylor's version from Reputation, but she had said that the vault tracks were fire. Do you know what else fire reminds me of? Orange. Not to be that insane crazy person, but fire is orange. It's just a fact. That might be my most unhinged statement of the video. That literally Taylor Swift saying her vault tracks are fire, meaning that they are orange, meaning that they are on Karma. I think we're getting a little off the plot right now, but I think, again, Reputation is most likely to be her last re-recording, and you know she's gonna want to go out with a bang. So I feel like she's got plans. She's a mastermind. We know this. Like, she's known to shock us. As soon as we think we know what she's doing, she takes a hard left, and every single time we have thought she was announcing Reputation, she's announced a new album. Like, I can't tell you how many reaction videos I have filmed thinking she was announcing Reputation, then she says something different or nothing at all, and I can't wait for when she actually does, because then I get to unearth all those videos and make a little clown compilation of them. But nobody would see it coming if Karma was somehow involved in Reputation Taylor's version. It would literally send me into a coma, 100%. And that would just be vindication for me. But I truly know in my heart of hearts that even if this album was real, I don't believe it will ever be released. Much as it pains me to say that. I love being delusional though, so, you know, to each their own. If you want to be delusional with me, you're very welcome here. No theory is too unhinged or clown-worthy. But you know what would really throw me for a loop? If she came out with new music and completely rebranded the color orange as like a big, like, middle finger to all of us Karma truthers. So that we would finally like shut the F up about it and just move on. She said, you need to get out of the restaurant. You need to pay your bill and get out. But alas, until that day, I will be here with my clown wig very close to me. I think that is all that I'm going to yap about. I've been talking for so long about this and I could go on and on. But anyways, let me know what you guys truly think of the Karma theory and everything. Also your thoughts on our last year of the re-recordings, what you think Reputation Taylor's version is gonna be like, what songs you're most excited to hear from our last two re-recordings. Yeah, also comment down below any other video ideas you guys want from me. I love doing these crazy deep dives. If you want me to do any lyric breakdowns, let me know. But with that, thank you so much for watching and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. I even dressed for the occasion. I have my Reputation crew neck, my snake ring. Is my camera focused? Am I not focused or is my camera not focused? What? Can you come in here and tell me if my camera's focused? That's focused?
Yes.
Like it's clear?
Yes, it's clear.
I was just worried because it looks blurry to me.